And I am not Ed Jones. I'm normally in the co-pilot seat. I am Clint Powell, but I am filling in for Ed Jones. Got to be honest with you, it's a big compliment. A guy that's such a control freak like Ed Jones to go, Clint, fly the plane. Mm-hmm. That's a big deal. Would you not agree, special co-host today?
I would agree, actually.
How you doing, Cady?
This is one of his things that he really takes pride in, so have you is a big deal.
Well, and I reached out to Cady, Ed's daughter, and asked her to come in and fill the co-host chair. So how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Feeling good?
I am. I'm a little hot. I'm 36 and a half weeks pregnant. So.
I was going to say, let's tell everybody while I'm asking that question. Yeah. You're very pregnant.
I'm very pregnant. Yeah. And I'm very hot. So, in August here at 90-degree heat and 50 pounds later, I'm pretty warm.
Well, let's talk about that. We got 10 minutes. We got Curt. Yeah. We got Dr. Deering's going to come in and talk about one of his case studies. I think we're going to have Amy come in, who's one of your coaches. Mm-hmm. So we're only going to have a few minutes here in this first segment before we start bringing guests in. But I thought there was something really interesting that goes on between you and your dad. And if I'm not allowed to say this, the bad thing is we're recording and we're not doing it again, so it's going to be there.
Just say it. I'm fine with that.
You and your dad, you like to gain weight when you're pregnant. You do.
So we've had a battle, right? So when Dad was, doing the bodybuilding show and was trying to get to a certain weight, we were having this almost battle between who was going to weigh more, who was going to be less, and we were battling right there at about 180, 181, something like that.
Here's how weird it was. Yeah. I have meetings with you guys 2 or 3 times a week. Mm-hmm. And what's really weird, there was about a month run that before we could have our meeting, y'all would both go jump on the scale and y'all would come in. One of y'all would talk trash, like, you're not there yet. And the other one would be...
I think for me, I love it because I just know the baby's growing, so it feels like a positive thing for me. And then I know I'll get it off once the baby's born. But
well, let's do this because this is a radio show where we talk about being healthy, a better version of ourselves, and we approach it from the holistic approach. But I think you and your dad have done a great job over the last 40-something years pulling people in from the medical world, especially since COVID. And this isn't a political podcast, and we're not going to make it controversial and talk about COVID, but it was a turning point, I think, for a lot of people, especially a lot of people in the medical industry. Because since then, you guys at the store have brought in Dr. Deering, Thera, you've got a dietitian on, and I know I'm missing other people, but you also have these third-party relationships with people that came from the medical industry.
Exactly.
And that's kind of a big deal. That's something new.
It's a very big deal. Yeah. So, I grew up in the business, and so growing up in the last 30 years of my life, it was very, we were trying to get the medical system to just even believe or respect us in any sort of way and let them see the need for nutraceuticals and supplements. And then now, since COVID, it's like the tides have turned and they're actually joining teams. There seems to be, to me, like we would have never had a pharmacist, a registered dietitian, those very medical fields stepping into our field. And so to me, it's the way that it should be. It's a cohesiveness because the medical world can exist with the holistic world because there's a need for both. And I think that's kind of the way we're moving.
Well, and I've heard your dad say it enough, and I've talked to you that there's a place for both. You have to. You have to. There's times I do need a pill. Mm-hmm. There are times I do need the air quote, whatever the treatment is. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I have a fever, and whatever the nature has provided is not working. Mm-hmm. And then though, on the other side of that, there's a lot of times where if you're just checking certain numbers and I'm a patient, instead of worrying about is another pill going to fix my cholesterol, maybe I should take some time and figure out why Clint's got high cholesterol to begin with.
Yep.
And that curious side of the medical world, not every time, but a lot of times has been weaned out of the system. And I think you're finding here's the theory. Here's where I'm going with that. Almost every person you've brought on that has that medical background has said they missed being curious and looking at each person as a patient.
Exactly.
Not a case study, which even though I know Curt's talking about that, he's using that for medical practice.
100%. And I think what was happening in the medical system was people were getting sicker with more chronic illness faster than the medical system could even keep up with training the professionals. Mm-hmm. So what was occurring was they go to medical school, they only get a 5% course on nutrition, on preventative medicine, and then they're seeing sicker patients and they're not knowing what to do. Right. And so their heart's great, but they just didn't have the training to know what to do. So I think now we blend the worlds of emergency care medicine and medicine for I mean, doctors are miracle workers with surgeries, emergency care, broken bones, life-saving treatment. But then we blend that with preventative care through the right diet, the right exercise, the right mindset, the right supplements, and we have the perfect world.
Well, and then I want to spend a couple minutes before we take our first break and talk about growing up in the nutrition world. But I will say this too, because the invention of the internet, we now are exposed to more and more information, whether it's political or sports teams. You know, I can get the world's at my fingertips on this little phone right here. But now I also am exposed to more research and more information about nutraceuticals and the green pharmacy. I have questions for my doctor now. I have things that I may take that he may or she may disagree with. So I think it's forced a lot of people in the medical world, whether they like it or not, to actually get caught up to speed, because patients are becoming more informed.
Absolutely.
And I don't think they want to get left behind on being more informed, or maybe we're misinformed sometimes.
Absolutely.
Y'all deal with that all the time too.
Yeah,
People
totally.
come in and go, this fixes me. You're not, nothing
No,
fixes
it doesn't. And everything's not right on Google. Everything's not going to be right on AI. So you do still need that professional person to guide you through it. But we need the person that's educated on it.
Did you like growing up in a world that your dad kind of raised you in, and your mom time too, but the nutrition world, was that a unique experience in a couple of minutes?
I did. I don't even think I knew it was unique at the time. It was all I knew, you know, until I got older, and then I'd go to friends' houses and see what they were eating, or I would be obsessed with eating their sugary cereal, and they're like, you don't have cereal at your house? I'm like, no, we don't eat cereal at our house. What do you mean? Like, we're not eating Fruit Loops and, you know, that type of thing. And we take our own butter, like I've said, to restaurants because Dad knew margarine was bad. So we had these odd nuances that went on.
You ate
I would
sad
say.
Loops.
Yeah.
Sad, hopeless loops for
I ate
cereal.
the organic, like nature loops.
Kale loops.
Yeah.
But you didn't have that. That's kind of crazy. Yeah.
So then I went to college and I'd eat a whole box of cereal, right, for like breakfast and lunch, because it was just
it was
exciting
taboo,
thing to do.
And then it's not taboo.
Right.
But did you always, was that holistic approach always pulling you back a little bit?
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah.
And then once I got away from eating well, which was really in college, and I saw how bad I felt, it was enough of a pull to get back into wellness. Yeah.
When did you start getting more active in nutrition world?
So right out of college. So I went to college and I thought I was going to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And so I majored in psychology.
Right.
I was going to go back and get my master's degree and help people with counseling and therapy. And I do love that type of work. But then when I came back and I started getting involved in the business, I actually became the weight loss coach and just became obsessed with the one-on-one like coaching and the one-on-one reaching goals. People would come in so desperate for help, and I would be able to turn them around. And I mean, sometimes it was saving their marriages because of their weight loss. It was truly, you know, when someone doesn't feel good about their body, when they don't have energy, they can't show up in all the areas of life they need to show up. And so I was helping them in those ways. And it just became like, this is what I have to do. Absolutely.
Well,
so.
you brought a couple things in we're going to talk about hopefully, and maybe in segment 4, but you were also going to talk about NAD. I take NAD every day.
Yeah, love NAD.
Okay, real quick, tell me why. We might revisit it in segment 4, but I don't want to get through the whole show and not bring up the one thing you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so NAD is extremely popular right now. It's kind of I'd say it's what's popular within our health food industry. So what we're looking at is how can we make our mitochondria function better. So when you're 15, 20, 25, 30, your mitochondria is probably tip-top shape. It is functioning very well. That's why you could get less sleep, you could eat worse, you could do all these things and still have energy. Then you start looking in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and naturally mitochondrial function gets worse and worse.
Right.
Why? Stress, lack of sleep, more medications, more sluggish liver, all the reasons. What NAD does essentially is it's a cellular energy production, DNA repair, and overall helps metabolite function. So what it does is it actually acts as like a coenzyme to go in there and help the mitochondria be more powerful and give them almost the food that they need to replicate in a healthy way. NAD, NMN, CoQ10, PQQ, those are all very popular right now in our industry. And I would highly recommend someone in 30 plus to consider NAD for their regimen.
Yeah, I take NAD, CoQ10, quercetin.
Yeah.
I take all that stuff every day. Y'all have got me.
You've got a good regimen.
Oh, I'm not your dad, but I'm.
You're not 72 pills a day?
No, but I'm probably 25 or 30 a day.
That's great.
Is it though? Because now some of them I take, and now I take it, and I'll hear your dad say, "And you shouldn't take that every day." I'm like, "Oh crap, let me go and
take a note.
Not take that every day." Let's do this. Let's take our first break for the day. When we come back, we're going to have Dr. Darren in. We're going to talk about a case study with someone he's helping in his one-on-one coaching. And then after that, hopefully if Amy shows up, we'll talk about her. And then we'll wrap the show up here in just a little bit with my co-host today, Cady, the co-owner of Nutrition World, and you're listening to Vital Health Radio. It's brought to you by our good friends at the Vascular Institute of Chattanooga, and we will be right back with you. Cady, how you doing, Cady?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's always fun. That was a fun first segment, and I want to encourage everybody. We got her story up on Nutrition World's podcast. We've been doing some get to know the staff there at Nutrition World, and that's a good one. Your story of growing up at Nutrition World was kind of fun.
Yeah, well, thank you. It was fun to do.
It was very fun, and we visited that a little bit in segment 1. Segment 2, though, is one of Ed's favorite segments. Now, I like this segment too, but here's the problem I have with this segment with Dr. Daring. How you doing, Dr. Daring?
Doing great.
You ready?
You also have a podcast with me, too.
That's what I was going to say. Well, I was going to say that. I was segueing into it. So not only have you been into the Nutrition World thing, but you've been on 18 to 80 with Michelle from Learning RX to talk about the ADHD brain. But here's the problem I have with this, and I'm glad I asked Cady to stay, because I could hold with you about 8 minutes, because I don't know the questions I need to ask. So if you ever are doing this with Ed and notice me drowsing off, it's because Ed's asking the good questions. I'm like, man, that sounds serious, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be asking as the backup, because you do so much. You do a little different. Here's why I'm going to set this up, and then you can tell everybody what you do and jump into your case study.
Okay.
I've actually brought to you some stuff some medicines my dad's on. One of the things that you do unique that I really like at Nutrition World is you bring a skill set that if people are on prescription medications for certain things and they want to start trying to take some sort of control of what they're doing outside the prescriptions, you have history. This is what you do.
Right.
You can be able to say, don't take that with this, take this instead, do it for 30 days, do it for 2 weeks. And I don't know of another nutrition store that has that kind of resource they can turn around to and go, that's the guy to go talk to. So I want you to go through your case study, but we always have new listeners.
Yeah.
So give me a sketch, a 30-second to 1-minute sketch of your history so people know why you can talk about this with such authority.
Well, 30 plus years as a clinical pharmacist, what that means is that you're working with patients and alongside of physicians and other providers to take care of patients. So you're not the typical pharmacist that's working dispensing or running orders in the hospital, that kind of thing. So it's hands-on with patients, running clinics and things. So I actually worked at Erlanger for 25 years in their teaching clinic. So all the medical residents go through their program there. I worked with a lot of the doctors here in town. I've worked with them during their training. And so I'm helping train them on, they got any questions about pharmaceuticals, anything like that. Of course, I was part of the whole brainwashing system of using guidelines, which are usually heavily influenced.
I can't tell your bias at all, but continue on, sir. I can tell where you come from.
Well, I come from the inside, and I come from a perspective that I know what the providers, the people in the conventional medicine system now, I was them, so I know where they're coming from. It's not a position of willful, dislike of anything, or that doesn't work, or any kind of bias. Like, it's just a mere ignorance. Well, you don't know what you don't know.
And to real quick, and then I'll hand it to you for your case study. This is what Cady and I were alluding to in segment 1 that you weren't in the room for, but this is what I'm talking about. It's not that people are bad, it's the system. And you get in that system and you start doing what you're told, and you look up one day, like you, because I've heard your story, you've been on the podcast with me, and it's like, what am I doing? This doesn't seem to be working. I'm fixing a pill with a pill with a pill with a pill, and this is not health care, it's sick care. I've heard y'all say that.
Oh, yeah.
And again, now that I'm handing it back for your case study, but this is why I think it's so valuable to have you doing this kind of stuff, because you're learning so much about the green pharmacy too.
Yes. Well, and most people that go through the medical system, we're talking physicians, pharmacists, PAs, on and on. These are usually, fairly intelligent people, but they also comes along with a lot of times a little bit of ego too, and they have a sense of authority, and I wouldn't call it God complex, but they think they know what they're doing, and they don't want to be second guessed.
You guys went to a lot of school.
Yeah, a lot of money, a lot of school, all of it.
And you don't want to be second guessed. However, you can't, when stuff starts to hit you personally, either with a family member or yourself, there's only so long you can close your eyes to that. Eventually you open your eyes. And the last 4 years, and we've been through this before, but the last 4 years opened everybody's eyes up to realize they've been fooled by a system, and they're waking up to the fact that there's a whole movement out there now. We call it MAHA, but there's a whole movement out there now, Make America Healthy Again, that's looking at, let's go to the root cause of the problem, and let's move beyond the traditional stuff that doesn't always work. Why not use both? Why not use the best of both worlds? You know, open the toolbox to everything.
Before you hop into that, I have one quick question, if you don't mind. How many of your patients that were coming to you would you say were either unhappy with their health or their symptoms even after you had tried to help them as best as possible, before you came into our kind of integrative holistic model? Like, would you say 80% were coming in chronically ill, not getting better?
Oh, yeah. No,
you were
my best example of that is my diabetes clinic. When I ran a diabetes clinic for roughly 10 years. The first 5 years was nothing but medication management. And it was just, it's just.
So no food management.
It's a progressive disease that you're only going to get worse. That was what we were taught, and that's what they believe. And then when I changed my life, going on a plant-based diet, which I don't necessarily do now, but it was good to just focus on a plant-based diet. Has been shown, even though good meat's not bad, it's been shown that if you just focus on the plant-based part of it, that you can improve diabetes, okay? But when I started implementing that lifestyle change, the drastic results I was getting, drops of 3 to 4 points on their A1C, changed everything. And it not only changed everything as far as me feeling good about getting good results, my patients cared about it because they felt better.
Right.
And once they started to feel better, it just took off. They just wanted to go more and more into it to feel better. But anyway, so that would be a kind of a before traditional medication management. You're putting a Band-Aid on it, and you know, some people will come back. They'll be happy with the numbers. Not everybody's different. Not everybody feels bad all the time, even when they're not in really good shape.
Right.
You know, but there's a difference between that and feeling really good. Anyway, I probably went on.
No, you didn't. And real quick, and this is your time right here. You've brought this mindset to what you do at Nutrition World, and now you're pulling these people through. And so what you've been doing on the show is bringing us in where people come in with their what symptoms or problems, and then how you are helping them transition their even mindsets. Like they don't even know what they can control a lot of times. They're like just blah, help me.
Right.
And so what do you got for us today?
Well, what I've got today is a 60-year-old male that came into me with his health problems listed as low testosterone, but that was the original problem. Now he's on 120 milligrams of testosterone weekly that he takes, and his levels are actually through the roof. And in order to try to change things too, he also got on anastrozole, which is a medication to limit your estrogen production. It's FDA approved for breast cancer,
right?
But it's off-label use for men to keep their levels under control. So he was just wanting to get some of that in perspective, get it maybe smoothed out a little bit. He's having some significant joint pain, and his possible enlarged prostate. They're having a little bit of BPH symptoms, benign prostatic hypertrophy is what it's called, but your prostate's a little bit enlarged. So his past medications, he's been on meloxicam to try to control some of the pain and stuff. He stopped it after 1 month. He was having ankle swelling, not that great of results. He was on Flomax. He discontinued that after 2 weeks. He was having vision issues and some sexual dysfunction from it. And then, so his current medications were anastrozole, the testosterone, that's it. So usually when I see somebody coming into me with 2 medications, I'm like, I get more excited about 6, 7, 8, 9 because I feel like it can make a bigger difference there. But that's fine. I had some great advice for him. I mean, what we ended up doing, well, his supplements, we'll go over his supplements real quick. He was on turmeric, however you want to pronounce it. Don't know exactly, 2,250 milligrams. I didn't get to see it. I imagine it's probably some curcumin in there, which is what actually works. Turmeric's a spice, curcumin's the medicine. He's on Prost, which is one of our products for prostate health, and he's on vitamin D3. He's on ashwagandha and triiodine, 25 milligrams. So his health goals, top 3 goals were better overall health. Of course, just take a point to realize anybody that comes to me, first thing I always talk to him is about the different pillars of health, with the 2 main strongest pillars of your health being the knife and the fork, the nutrition, and the exercise. And so that's what I always talk about first. And so he wants to decrease his joint pain and maintain sexual health. So when it comes to the testosterone, well, my recommendations were being, and I'll just go ahead and say what my recommendations were and then kind of why. Consider reducing the testosterone dose, perhaps even tapering off, and discontinue the anastrozole, and we'll tell you why, and implementing some maca, some fenugreek, and maybe even the combination products we have like masculinity. And so when you look at anastrozole, all right, so this is an off-label use, okay, to lower estradiol levels, but it also carries risk with it. So what are these? Well, bone mineral density loss. So you got decreased bone density. We know that what that can lead to. It can lead to some sexual dysfunction, erectile dysfunction, some libido issues. There's mixed evidence on that. Some saying it's not good, and some saying it may not be a problem at all. But one of the main side effects listed this is joint pain and musculoskeletal symptoms. So this joint pain he's having and stiffness and stuff is directly related to this. So my number one recommendation was stop it. And of course,
and was
if Ed was here, he'd say his doctor makes that decision, right?
Well, that's what I was going to read.
Yeah.
Always in conjunction with their physician, of course. And so,
and was he on that estrogen blocker because of the amount of testosterone he was on?
That's what I was going to say.
Was the testosterone, if it had been a lower dose testosterone, maybe he wouldn't have needed that additional medication?
Yeah. That's my guess. Was looking at his levels at that moment.
Yeah.
But he's on pretty good dose. And then my other recommendation was to slowly, and I did check in with this guy today, so I'll give you an update in a few minutes. And he also came in the store 2 weeks ago and gave me some good news. So anyway, some mood problems, the anastrozole, some cardiovascular health problems. But anyway, we'll move on to what I wanted to do, though, as we start to decrease the amount of testosterone he's on, which he's in the process of doing. He's only down to 100 milligrams from 120 to 100, but he is off the other medications, so that's good. But want to start implementing. He's already on ashwagandha, which would be recommended. He's on vitamin D, which would recommend zinc, fenugreek, and I don't know if I need to go into the mechanisms of action of that if I've got time, but
you got about 6 minutes.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we know ashwagandha increases testosterone by upregulating. It boosts luteinizing hormone, LH, reduces stress, cortisol. So it has all kinds of beneficial things. And vitamin D, which of course is on the core 4. And
isn't vitamin D a hormone?
Yeah, it's a hormone, yeah.
That's the only smart thing I'll say in this segment. Continue on, sir.
When people come in to see me, it's just amazing how often that the solutions about 90% of the time come back to the same things: vitamin D, omega-3s, magnesium.
Right.
And then for me, it's all usually curcumin's thrown in there, of course. So, but vitamin D directly stimulates Leydig cells in the testes to increase testosterone production. Deficiency is linked to low T, and supplementation showing 20% increase in testosterone in men with low vitamin D levels. So 20% increase in testosterone. So if you can increase zinc, essential for testosterone synthesis. So anyway, if you look at masculinity, it's got vitamin B3 in it, niacin, supports energy metabolism, may improve blood flow by vasodilation. It's got tribulus, or tribulus. How do you pronounce it?
Tribulus.
Tribulus, okay.
That's what I
Tribulus.
Thanks for looking at her, not me, but go ahead. No, I get it.
She's got the background. You know.
Tribalubidus.
This is her world.
You're smart. I know what the hell you're doing. That's good.
I've been in this year in this for a year now, and while I'm proud that I'm a kind of a go-to person in the store now. I take pride in that. You know, it's not that they just come talk to me about the interactions and the medicines.
Right. You're learning it. Yeah.
Come talk to me.
No, you know.
Yeah. So I'm kind of proud of that.
Tribulus. Gotcha.
Whatever.
What else? Yeah.
It's got fenugreek in it, maca, but not at a very high dose, which is why I recommend the Symphony's brand of maca, which is about 1 gram that you would take. It's got horny goat weed in it, long jacks, which also goes by the name of Tongat Ali.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tongat Ali. Anyway, Korean ginseng root. It's got all the stuff in there. I don't always like the doses in Life Seasons products, but they do a beautiful job of putting the right little combos together. And I don't always like the doses, but they'll say that it's a synergy kind of thing that's happening there, that you're getting a little bit of everything, so it all adds up to synergy and getting
they're
more
all working together.
Let's do me a favor, because I'm trying to drive. Do me you got about 3 or 4 minutes. Let's make sure I want to hear how he's doing, and if there's anything else you want to get to. I just know because I want to make sure we get to all of it.
All right.
Yeah.
So he came in. He is joint pain free.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Combination of two things. Which one's playing the biggest role? Probably getting to the root of the problem, getting off that medication. However, I never want to underestimate the powerful of curcumin, that it's doing a beautiful job at his pain. And then had Boswellia ready to go because he was already on some form of curcumin. I just didn't think it was probably the best one. And I'm not going to have time to get into it today. I can't tell you how many times I've put this off, but the whole curcumin, the background on curcumin and its absorption and why I think BCM 95 formulation is the best and all that. So I will put it off to the next time again. But back to this case here, which is, that was his biggest thing. And I love that. I got people coming in. I had a lady come in the other day, was having shingles pain. She said that she was climbing the walls. It was so painful. Mm-hmm. And so when she came in, she asked for some advice. And, once again, I'm not treating or diagnosing.
That's why you have doctors, yeah.
But there is a particular, I don't have to mention the name of it now, but we have a mushroom that we had Cady's real good at bringing people in to train us, quote, train us. So we get education. And I would have never known this, but the training the day before, the guy was like, I can't really talk about this too much, but this stuff is antiviral like crazy. I've heard it can knock out herpes type viruses and stuff. And I was like, that sounds great. Well, that's the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah.
So she's complaining. I said, hey, you could try this. She tried it. She said she came back in 1 day.
Wow.
It knocked her pain out.
And which mushroom? Argaricon? Yeah,
yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, Argaricon. Yeah, I didn't know. Anyway, back to this guy. You know what was going to happen again? Is one time before I had a person that we were talking about their prostate, and we never got to the end.
Yeah.
And you talked about that. We're not going to get to the prostate again. So
poor prostate. Never gets the attention.
But he is. What I will say is on prostate, which is working fine for him. It's doing well. Was keeping his symptoms under control. And I'd also said we could consider if he thought it wasn't doing enough for him that we have Life Extension has an ultra prostate formula, which is kind of has our Excellence Award and is a good product. They probably both have the Excellence Award.
I think they both do.
Yeah. But usually in those, you're looking at saw palmetto in there, nettle root. And when it comes to nettle, it's the root. So the leaf is good for histamine blocking. The root's good for the prostate. So I know you know that.
Yeah.
But
no, that's great.
People like to hear
I've never
things.
enjoyed watching two people have a conversation more in my entire life than you and Cady. What else we got before we wrap this segment up, sir?
All right. Do I need to wrap it up?
Well, we got to. We're at 18 minutes, man. We're running up on time.
So basically, this man's feeling good at this point, right?
He's feeling good.
We do have time parameters. Yeah.
His levels of testosterone are going down a little bit. His estrogen's coming up a little bit, and most people don't realize. I don't know if I made that clear or not, but estrogen levels are important in men. People think of it as a woman's, but it's important in men as far as our libido goes, and far as several things go. But so you don't want to just knock out estrogen at all, and you don't want too much testosterone. So it's all about a balance. God made us a certain way, and we need to be balanced. But guy's doing fantastic, and he's going to keep following up with me. And one thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned is that I mentioned to him, he never did it, but. And Cady would agree with me, I think, that DIM, which kind of makes your body kind of shut down the bad estrogen and maybe produce more of the good estrogen, but DIM would be a possibility
absolutely.
for him.
Like cruciferous vegetables or DIM helps get rid of excess bad estrogen. So those xenoestrogens.
It's diindolylmethane, is that pronounced?
Yep.
DIM. So anyway, it's I guess I have to. You're telling me I'm
playing the wrap up music,
here.
Man. It's the way.
I think I got the main points out here.
Well, you know what you ought to do? We ought to just start doing a podcast just with Dr. Deering's case studies. That would be a good one.
That'd be cool.
That would be a very cool
that idea.
One. Yeah,
I think that would be like
good.
the old days of Ed and his holistic navigator.
It would,
which I loved. That's where I got the idea of doing what I do on this Vital Radio was what I loved about that. Those podcasts, what I loved about it was See, when I first got in this world, I didn't know. So what I do, I just went back and listened to one and after another of Ed's podcast, listening and learning all
Kurt's
those things.
Case Studies podcast.
So
you know
I think
what I mean?
if I only knew the marketing person in the nutrition world that can handle that. Oh, there she is. I found her. I hate to do this, guys, but we do have to run. We're up on a hard break right now. We're about a minute over. No worries, though, because this information is fantastic. And it's just it's just another reason why you go to the nutrition world and you've got these coaches that have these different specialties. We're about to bring another one here in just a minute. But thank you, Dr. Deeren, for coming in.
Thank you.
No worries. And we'd like to thank Vascular Institute of Chattanooga because they sponsor this radio show. It's Vital Health Radio. And for Cady and Clint, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Vital Health Radio. It's a radio show where we talk about living the best quality life we can, the best version of ourselves. It is brought to you by our good friends at the Vascular Institute of Chattanooga. I am the host for today and today only. So if you're like, hey, this show's okay, but it's not what I'm used to, don't worry. Ed will be back and in the pilot seat next week. I'm just filling in while he is gone. And I'm very happy to be joined by the co-host and the co-owner of Nutrition World, Cady. And before we welcome our next guest on, coach at Nutrition World, we just enjoyed Dr. Deeren, his case studies. Do you know what your dad's doing while he's gone at all?
I do.
Because it's a pretty big deal, right?
It is, yeah. He's into kind of these mindful retreats where there's a lot of breath work and meditation and silence and those type of things. And so that's where he's at for the weekend.
He's being a better version of himself.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good for him. He gets alone time and he gets to get away and he has a cute little cabin he's staying in. And
he is a pretty disciplined guy.
He's a very disciplined guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I know he works in these moments of self-care, but on things like this, I think it's pretty important with a guy that is, because you can be so regimented that it becomes almost just you almost feel like you're in a cage.
Oh, yeah.
And so when he gets to go to a place like this where it's still regimented, but it's free range.
Right. And it almost forces him to relax because he doesn't relax a lot. So within the level of discipline that he's in, and Amy's a disciplined person, so I think you probably can understand the mindset as well, but it's like he kind of has to go somewhere to force himself to relax.
Yeah.
So that's what he's doing.
By the way, I don't know if you've ever hosted or co-hosted a radio show or a podcast. That was a great segue. Very well done introducing the guest as we transition over.
I'm learning.
Very smooth. We have the one of the coaches at Nutrition World. Like I said, Dr. Deeren just left us with this case study, but Amy Tucker's in. How you doing, Amy?
Hello, I'm great. How are you?
I am fantastic. Do me a huge favor. Get a little closer to that mic. I'm going to turn you up, but we're going to be great. So you've worked at Nutrition World for a while. You recently kind of moved over into coaching, and you still work the floor a little bit. But before we go down what you do, you're from Chattanooga.
I am.
Where'd you go to school?
Eastridge.
And you're a repeat offender on this radio show.
Am.
You've been in, right? Mm-hmm. And you've been on a podcast too.
I have.
We did we did During the Break with me, right?
We did.
And you went to Eastridge, and what year did you graduate? You graduated in 2020? Is that when you graduated?
Thank you. No, 1999.
And have you always been into working out, fitness, health, and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
What got you into it? Do you remember when it started for you?
Well, I grew up an athlete, so I played a lot of sports in school, and just eating right was a good component of that. And I've always been interested in herbs, and I went to college and majored in anthropology. So that's the study of humankind throughout time. But I was really interested in medicine and diets. Mm-hmm. So the focus was medical anthropology.
That's cool.
Yeah. What sports did you play? What was your favorite?
I played softball, basketball, volleyball, played soccer. I ran track.
Did you have a favorite, though? If you could only play one, was there one you were like, okay, that's the one?
Softball's the one that I played the most. I think soccer might have been my favorite, but it wasn't big at the time.
Yeah, that's too much running. That's too much running for me completely.
Yeah.
What got you to Nutrition World as far as just getting a job there? How did you find it why did you want to work at Nutrition World? Because you're also a real estate agent.
I am.
Yeah.
Well, I've loved Nutrition World. I've been a customer for a long, long time and came in at the right time. They were looking at hiring another person, and I love nutrition and health and supplements and take a lot of them myself. And so that's how I got there.
Since you've been there, has it helped your learning, the curiosity, scratch that itch?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The trainings are fantastic. I'm learning something new every day. I learn from the people that come in. And so it's a fantastic learning experience. Is it because
you've sold houses, so you've been in the air quote sales world, but when people bring you in information or they expect a certain thing, was there a problem? There was for me in the past in sales where I had a little bit of an ego. I didn't like saying I don't know. But there's almost zero way you can know about everything in that store when you've worked there 3 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know you've been there a lot longer now, but going back in time, was that a little intimidating, or did you have to get used to going, you know what, I don't know, let's go find out together?
I love to say I don't know. I'm like, I don't know, let's go look it up. And so we'll look up something on the computer and we'll both learn something. So it's pretty great.
Yeah. When did you decide you wanted to be a coach? Because you've done training too.
Yeah. So I've been a personal trainer and still am. And I love coaching. I love teaching. I love learning. So, I mean, it's something I do in my spare time anyway. I'm always reading, I'm a lot like your dad in a lot of ways. So, yeah.
You're super disciplined?
I try to be, yes.
I feel like you
to
are.
the minute. To the minute.
Yeah.
Really? Her dad's
Yeah.
that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Again, have you always been that way, or did that transition as you got older? Because I'm a little more disciplined now, but it took a while for me to become disciplined at all.
Would you say motherhood made you really disciplined?
Yes.
Yeah.
Having 3 children all to myself, and trying to get them to 3 different schools and get them all ready, so that was one of the big reasons I became even more disciplined, but I am a disciplined person.
Yeah. And then I always have to mention Amy's previous role with being a doula and birthing babies and lactation and all that. I just find that really cool. So just share a little bit of that.
You did that
if you don't mind.
Yeah, it was great.
She did a lot of that.
So I was always interested in home birth. I had some kids at home, and it was a fantastic experience. And so I just started being a midwife apprentice, and I was for a long time, and then transitioned to a doula, which was fantastic. And yeah, I love the entire process.
Okay, explain to me the difference between a midwife and a doula, because remember, I've not had a kid. I don't know if you know. I know how that works. So what's the difference?
So the midwife is there. They take control of the birth. They do the prenatals, the postnatals, all of the stuff that a doctor would do. And the doula is there for more of a support to the laboring mother.
Is there one of those that you gravitated to that you look back on and go, I like being that part rather than this part?
Well, I'm kind of a take charge kind of person. So I really loved the midwifery part.
Really?
And that can change a birth experience when you have someone that's advocating for you and helping you with the breath work and the whole empowerment idea of it. Because I think women in our society can have a negative experience with birth when it becomes too medically intervened, or they don't have the right
Too
person.
clinical almost.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's not enough primal, natural, feelings within it. So I think a doula helps in a big way with that.
Yeah, stress definitely can play a factor in slowing and even stopping birth. I mean, if you were to be in the wild or something and a lion would come on you, your body would naturally stop birth so that you could get up and run to a safe place. And so when you're messed with and needles are all over the place and you're fearful anyway, then it can really affect the process.
And that's why so many, it seems, stall in the hospital, and then they're given all the Pitocin and all the things to keep labor going.
Yeah. And now you need a C-section and
Oh, wow. We just started a whole new podcast.
Yeah.
You guys just
We
had
did.
going
That's a great
whole
idea.
little
I
way
know,
down
right?
that.
I could talk about that all
We
day.
got I do want to spend a few minutes though talking about what you're doing now currently with the coaching, and you've been doing it a month or so now. It's gone really well. You're getting tons of appointments. But do you like coaching so far? Have you enjoyed it?
I love coaching. It's actually different than I thought it was going to be. It's more of a psychological conversation. The science is the science, and so I help people understand calories, macros, whatever their goals are, that's what we'll get to. But there's always an underlying reason why they are how they are and how they got to where they are. And so it's a whole life approach. What does your day look like? What family members are in your house? What are your stresses? How are your relationships? And it turns into it's more like a life coaching with some nutrition.
Was that what you expected as far as getting into the life part of it? Did you expect that, or do you think it'd be more macros, minerals and all that? Is the life stuff a little heavy, or is that what you expected?
I don't think it's what I expected, but I also know that it's a huge component. My plans are so individualized. It has to be individualized for that person and their lifestyle, or it's not going to be sustainable.
You told me that you actually have different recipes. Like somebody was talking about not wanting to cook. They wanted to start cooking, but they didn't know how. And you were helping them put together just a simple recipe, which seems way out of the norm of what I would get at a air quote weight loss coach or a health coach.
Well, so that's just one of the clients. It turned out that she had recently gotten a divorce and never wanted to cook. And I said, okay, well, why is that? And she said her husband was very hard on her cooking, and so she never wanted to cook. So I gave her some homework, and she had 2 daughters that were teenagers that lived at home with her. And I said, well, tonight you're going to make a meal. And I said, we're not going to go for health. We're going to go for fun. So what's your favorite meal? She said, fettuccine Alfredo. And I said, okay, these are the ingredients. This is what you need. Go home, and this is how you make it. And I said, I want pictures. And so she sent pictures, and then
awesome.
it was fantastic. And she had the best fun with her daughters.
That's wonderful. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got into the science of it after
Right.
that. But I always ask all my clients, I want you to track your food for 3 days, and I like them to track it on an app rather than using AI, so I know exactly what they're ingesting. And every single time without fail, people are so surprised at what they're actually putting into their body.
I've tracked it before too, just to keep up with my proteins. And I thought, I'm a guy, I eat meat, I eat lots of protein. How many is protein? 80 grams. And I'm supposed to eat like 220. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? You need 5,000 eggs every night before you go to bed. And you have to become strategic.
Yeah,
That's when you have to have a plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you track your macros still, or you do?
I do.
You answer
I
that
pretty much
quickly.
know. And I'm kind of boring. I eat the same things just because I know what's going to hit the macros.
Boring is successful though.
It is.
Yeah. I eat the same stuff too.
Do you really? See,
do.
boring to me, I say this all the time, wearing a lot of the same kind of clothes, eating the same kind of foods, that kind of stuff is what leads to success. Because
Yeah,
then
I
it leaves you
think
the
so, too.
bandwidth to do the put out the fires in a creative way and not get overwhelmed with all the little daily choices.
Exactly. And you know what works and what doesn't. So you know what maintains your energy levels. You know what's going to feel right, what's going to digest right. So it just works.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
We only got a couple minutes left. We have to wrap this segment up real quick. What do you take every day? What are some of the supplements you take every day?
Wow, I take a lot of supplements.
Yeah.
Protein,
You're okay.
creatine,
Ed,
collagen, fish oil, probiotic, multivitamin, extra D3. Goodness.
Do you take it in a shake, or do you take
Tudka.
pills, or all of it?
All of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tudka, milk thistle,
Tudka.
Tudka for your liver, milk thistle.
Don't
for your
say
liver.
yeah. Like, look,
Have you never heard of Tudka?
Katie's looking at me like I'm the idiot. Like everyone out there is going, I don't know what Tudka is either. Yeah, what's it for? Your liver?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Ashwagandha. I
It
love
helps all the
ashwagandha.
phases of your liver. So there's 3 phases of your liver, and it supports all 3 of them.
Yeah.
I've never felt more cool talking to two geeks.
It's even in
my
a
life.
clinical trial for ALS.
Really? And you take it every day? Wow.
Yeah.
Did you take it before you started working
Yeah.
here? Oh.
Oh, you did? Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
I mean, they're great. Supplements, they're NAD. I mean, the list goes on.
We just talked about
We
NAD
did.
in
I
the
love
first
NAD.
segment. I do too. Do you take one tablet a day, one pill a day?
Yeah, usually in the morning. I take usually everything in the morning except magnesium, and I'll take the magnesium at night.
I take magnesium, and that's because it helps you sleep.
Yeah.
I learned that too from being on a radio show with Ed Jones and other people. Do me a huge favor. If somebody hears this and they go, I want to talk about weight loss, or I want that kind of coach that gives me that personal attention, insert the issue here. How do they find out more about you as far as wanting coaching?
You can go to the website at nutritionw.com, and you can find me under our coaches, consultants, or come into the store. We can have a conversation and see, if we're a right fit.
Yeah. All right. I encourage everybody to do that. Go check out all the coaches at the Nutrition World website. But Amy's, if she's a good fit for you, and you're always good for a call too.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Amy.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me
I
on.
appreciate it. When we come back, we got 3 or 4 minutes before we'll wrap this puppy up. This is Vital Health Radio. It's brought to you by our friends at the Vascular Institute of Chattanooga. I am Clint Powell, and for Cady, we'll be right back with you. It's been kind of fun. I appreciate that.
been fun.
It's really odd to watch you and Dr. Deering have a conversation like I was not in the room, because he would say a word or talk about something, and he would look directly at you, and I was like, hey, I might know how to say that word. The odds are I don't, though. And we talked in the first segment about growing up a little bit in the nutrition world as far as with your dad and that environment. We talked about NAD. But here we go. We got about 4 minutes left. And you said when we started, you wanted to talk about this. So I'm going to give you the worst setup ever in radio. Here is the horrible, terrible, bad setup. Cady wants to talk about placenta.
That's right. Okay, I'm ready.
And go.
So I'm extremely fascinated with pregnancy and birth and the how to have a healthy pregnancy and how to go about this entire journey with parenthood and children. And I'm also equally as fascinated, unfortunately, by the devastating health of children in our society. So I feel like we have to rewind and look at how were the parents' health leading into this birth. And so I'm just really big on getting parents on a good regimen before conceiving or before getting pregnant. So part of that is looking at placenta health.
Because you real quick, you said parents, them, and last I
Mother
checked.
and father.
Yeah, because
Yes.
the man does not have placenta.
No.
I know this much.
No, but the man contributes the majority to the placenta health. So how odd is that? So an organ that you literally grow every pregnancy, you grow a new placenta, and you don't have the placenta when you're not pregnant. So you're literally growing an organ that the placenta is mainly directed from the father's DNA and the father's health. So I just think that's instrumental if someone steps back and listens to that, because women are held so accountable for taking prenatals or going to their OBGYN visits, maybe taking a fish oil, which I think they should, but it's not always recommended at OB's offices up front. It should be. Vitamin D, magnesium, this regimen. But no one ever instructs the male to take anything, do they?
Before they start trying to have the babies. Yeah.
Have you ever heard?
Nope, never heard of it. Yeah.
I know.
So I think you got a big topic to do in about a minute and 50 seconds.
So basically, my quick synopsis would be, if you are thinking of having a child and you want to be in your best health in order to conceive the healthiest baby, and again, you do the best you can. I think the male should be on some type of core 4. We talk about core 4 a lot in here. That would be a multivitamin, a magnesium, a vitamin D, and an omega-3. That right there, hands down, would give most of the nutrient deficiencies that a male could have. It would help fill those nutrient deficiencies and really get the male into ultimate health prior to conceiving.
Yeah, again, back to your point though, we just don't, we always talk about how's the mom, how's the health, and it's almost after she's become pregnant. Now let's really focus on the health of the mom, and then what you're saying is the health of the baby and the health of the mom part starts before that with the health of the dad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we don't think about that.
Never.
That's weird.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah, we should.
Even they're thinking 80% of miscarriages now have to do with the DNA from the sperm. So again,
it's our fault.
Women.
Is that what I hear you saying?
Women feel very blamed or very upset with those type of
that's a heavy
situations.
Topic. That is a heavy topic.
And there's a lot of reasons for that.
Yeah.
But again, going back to just making sure the male is at ultimate best health prior to conceiving.
Yeah. And so with that being said, is there, by the way, your dad likes to end with a quote.
Yeah.
He likes to end with some positive or some sort of stoic thought or something. Do you have a quote for us today?
I do, actually.
Let's hear it.
One of my favorite motivational speakers of all times is Les Brown. I have listened to him like millions of times in my life. So one of my favorite quotes he has is, "The graveyard is the richest place on earth because it is here you will find all the hopes and dreams that were never fulfilled, the books that were never written, the songs that were never sung, the inventions that were never shared, the cures that were never discovered, all because someone was too afraid to take the first step. Keep with the problem or determined to carry out their dream. Keep going, don't stop."
That's fantastic. And I can't think of a better way to end the show. Your dad will be happy and proud that you end it with words of wisdom like that. Thanks for joining me again today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No worries. We'll look forward to seeing everybody again next week when Ed Jones will be back here in this driver's seat. We hope Ed has safe travels. And with that being said, thank you for listening to Vital Health Radio. It's brought to you by our friends at the Vascular Institute of Chattanooga. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Bye.